Hello random person, Sab Nino here. Welcome back to yet another Sab's Merch Odyssey. As you've seen on this channel, I have been tackling just about every Area-X SpongeBob set. I've tackled the Krusty Krab, I have tackled the pineapple, I've even tackled some smaller builds like the delicacy boxes and the small Good Friends like memorabilia set. But now we're back to the big stuff, because thanks to a sponsor I was able to get a set for free, and this is really fucking massive. It barely fits on camera, unfortunately, but it showcases the set pretty well. I like this little splat here, it reminds me of the Nickelodeon logo. And here's the back showcasing all of the details. First off, we have William Fancyson. No, not Squidward, but Squilliam, his arch rival from band class. I was not expecting to see him again, but he looks good. This is actually the second time he has been like a Lego minifigure. The first time was Mega Bloks. Yeah, just an accurate interpretation of Squilliam. I've said this so many times, but it's weird that his sculpt is frowning when he's smiling. I really wish they'd stop doing that, but oh well, I don't think they're ever going to listen to me. Next up is Statue Squidward, which I think is meant to be a display piece rather than a minifigure, but you can still pose him as a minifigure, so if you want to play with these and just make Squidward like a walking, talking statue, then you have very specific requests, but here you go. He still looks nice though. It looks like he's wearing a toga. We also have Betty by Squidward, which is really cute, though I will say, this fabric thing, I had a really hard time with, to the point where it even broke on me. It's a miracle that it even works, but I love his slippers, I love his nightshirt. Though I would have given Squidward more of a tired expression personally, but it still looks good. We also have Band Squidward, which at first I thought it was a miscolor of the Band Geeks outfit, but no, he actually wears this in the episode Best Day Ever, which was probably based on the Band Geeks outfit, but personally I would have made it a Band Geeks outfit. I think that's just more iconic, but it doesn't really matter. And lastly, we have Bathhouse Squidward, and the bathrobe doesn't want to stay on, which is kind of the downside. I like his little shower cap. I love the almost relaxed face he has here. You could easily give this to the bedtime Squidward. Though one thing I will say is a little odd is that there is an obvious dent where the sleeves used to be, but he's not wearing a shirt, so it looks a little odd. So I wish the arms were just one solid piece, but that's pretty nitpicky. The instructions are nothing to write home about. It mainly just shows the other sets in the collection. I really need to get these SpongeBob Wonder Dreams. Those are the last things I need for my collection. It has the Good Friends SpongeBob and Patrick Star, which I did cover thanks to the sponsor Barweir. I have covered all of these sets, and it tells you about the cards of authenticity, I think. Which, speaking of which, here is the card of authenticity. It doesn't come in a folder this time, which is interesting. It just comes as a separate thing. I'm not sure if that happens with the boxless version. Maybe the reason for the folder is because of the lack of box, but I don't know for certain. Let's talk about the base first. Thankfully, unlike SpongeBob's pineapple, this was a lot easier to build, but the downside is that it's not very sturdy, especially these big pieces. They keep falling off, so I wish there was a little bit more extra support for those, or that they just made the pieces like smaller, because as it stands, it's just not very good. But there's a lot of good Easter eggs. For instance, we have a Squidward fountain, we have this sign that says no SpongeBob and Patrick, which is the only mention of SpongeBob in this entire set. There's the bus stop, here's a little chair and umbrella for Squidward to lay in, here's some like greenery, and he has a garden, which is a reference to the episode Bunny Hunt. So he's growing like some pumpkins, some onions, some carrots. Has like this little flower here. He has a birdhouse, or I guess a clam house. And on the back, it's very hard to see. It shows the loser sign from Help Wanted, like the loser graffiti. I wish it was easier to see, personally. So the base is much better than the SpongeBob Pineapple House, which was a huge pain in the ass to build, but I do get why for the gimmick that one has. But the gimmick for this one is much simpler, so it has a simpler base. And now for the grand finale.
Squidward's house.
I'm sorry, whenever I tackle anything Squidward house related, I just think of that one secret box scene. In terms of the front, it looks pretty good. I will say, I think the color could have been a little darker, but everything is well color coordinated. I like how the nose and the eyebrows are a lot more of a lighter shade than the main base. The doors open and the windows open, but there's nothing on the other side. I wish there was something on the other side like the SpongeBob's pineapple did. I thought they were going to use the same window designs, but no. And unlike the Krusty Krab and the pineapple, this doesn't have a back. No, the back is just completely out in the open, but it has a light switch, just like the other two sets. I wouldn't expect anything less. Let's see if we can get a closer look. Squidward's living room area looks really cool. It's very authentic to the show. It is missing his TV, despite having a remote, so I wouldn't have even included a remote personally, but it is a good reference to Idiot Box. I like Squidward's clock with like these dangly things. I love how throughout there are self-portraits, but they're not stickers, they are printed on, which makes me wish that a lot of the other builds are like printed instead of stickers, because these look really good. They have like a good canvas material to them, like his little bookshelf. And although I like the couch design, it is very hard to put on, and I wish there was an easier way to fix it, but as it stands, it looks good. Oh, and here's the gimmick. Whee! Here's the other side of the first floor. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to turn all the way. I'm not sure if I built it wrong or what, but thankfully it doesn't take away from the detail, so I can't complain too much. But he has like a sink and like a little bar. I think this is meant to be his fridge. He has some stuff in here. These are his Tupperware, these are silverware, and we have more silverware. And he has like a table with a lamp, I think. I think that's a lamp. Or maybe it's like a souffle. It's really hard to tell. Really looking at the shape, I'm gonna guess it's like a cake. Also, I really like this painting of Squidward. It's just really goofy. Next up, we have Squidward getting ready for Betty Bye. His bed looks really good, and there's actually a little Easter egg on his bed. It's hard to see, but here we have his clarinet, which is the only instance of his clarinet in this entire set, which I personally consider to be a bit of a letdown, because this is the definitive Squidward set. So not having his most iconic instrument in a brick-built form, not even like a custom mold, it's a shame. I wish we got a clarinet piece. The next one is Squidward's bathroom. There's only 2 pieces of Squidward art that is actually stock art, but this is Squidward doing the thing with like a crown. But hey, the fact that it's only 2 is actually really good. His toilet is making a splash for some reason. I like what they did with the toilet paper design. That's a really unique piece usage. A bathtub. This piece kind of moves, but not really well. Honestly, I just prefer having it open because, yeah. He also has a little rubber ducky, which is really cute. Oh, and I forgot to bring this up, but Squidward has a bear in his bedroom. I wonder if that's a reference to Skill Crane. I wonder if that's the bear he won in that episode. And for the grand finale, we have his art room, which you can actually lift up. Yeah, this one isn't a spinny spin like the other ones. This is just one room. But I get why they did this. There probably aren't that many iconic locations in Squidward's house. Sure, there's that one room where SpongeBob and Patrick tore the wallpaper off, and there's the library we only see in one episode, but I get why the art room is one big piece. I will say this light broke on me when I was putting it on, but thankfully it still works. All of these are really cool. I think this is his art setup. We have this pottery, which is a reference to Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, which this might actually be a reference to that too, or like another episode where Squidward had a statue, because he has had statues in multiple episodes. These are a part of the scene where he tackles all artistic medium, which good for him. The only downside about this room is that you can see a little bit of blue when this room is meant to be orange, but it is kind of a cramped little area, so I kind of get why they did it, to kind of add to the messy feel, but oh well. And the last room of the house, the ceiling, where Squidward sunbathed and something smells. We have this, and we have a microphone. And I know the reason why, because this Squidward is meant to be on top of here, but there's nothing for him to stand on, so I'm just putting him in the kitchen. But that was my review of Squidward's house. I actually didn't have as much to say on this as I thought I did, but I do appreciate them for doing something different. I did see this Area-X ad where they teased a Patrick's Rock, so I'm hoping that set actually goes to fruition, because it was like pixelated, so I'm guessing they were teasing it. I will say one thing I do want to say about that ad is that they clearly used AI, because Squidward's voice was AI generated.
They're looking in. Again, can't a guy get some personal space around here?
And there were like 2 thought bubbles in that commercial that clearly used AI, because in one of the images, Squidward had hands, which I found to be a little disappointing, because when I was watching that ad, I actually thought of 2 episodes off the top of my head they could have used. So Area-X, if you ever need like a video editor for your advertisements, I know you guys reached out to me. I'm sorry for the late reply. I hope we can still collab sometime, but I would be delighted to help you guys out with anything you have going on as a SpongeBob historian. But yeah, this makes me even more excited for what they have for the future. Now let's compare it to some other Squidward houses. This is a lot better than the first attempt at a Lego Squidward's house, because that had no floors. It only had like a very rough exterior. Bikini Bottom Undersea Party, it did have that 3-floor setup that this set has, but 1 floor was just dedicated to like a gift. And even with that set, it wasn't that big. The Mega Bloks Bad Neighbors set did take a bit of a downgrade despite having a more accurate exterior than the Lego version. However, the interior only featured like a bathtub, which is a massive downgrade, but I think the biggest point for comparison is actually the Bellotti Squidward's house, which is micro bricks. I say in terms of visuals, I say this one has the better color choice in my opinion, because Squidward's house is more of this dark color, and when you open it up, it is basically the same interior as the Area-X one, and this one has like chairs. Since it's micro bricks, you do get a little bit more detail, but it has like the same bathroom and bedroom combo, just on the same floor too. These are also on the same floor. The one issue I had with it is that it has like windows where windows don't belong, when the windows are only on here, and they don't even have the little window he has on the back here. But I say in terms of the detail of the interior, I say the Area-X Squidward's house is a lot better, despite the fact that it doesn't have a back. I'm willing to take that sacrifice for the sake of quality. So I will say this is the definitive version of Squidward's house. It's very well detailed, it has a lot of Easter eggs. It doesn't have as many Easter eggs as like the other sets, but that's probably because it is a smaller set. But to anyone who is a Squidward fan, I would recommend this. If you don't really like Squidward as a character, then I probably would skip this, because you don't get any other characters but Squilliam. You don't get SpongeBob, you don't get Patrick. This is a purely Squidward focused set. But if you do have the pineapple or the Krusty Krab, this would be a nice cheaper display piece to go along with it. And I really hope we get that Patrick's Rock set so we can actually complete Conch Street, because with the Bellotti sets, I wasn't able to complete Conch Street, but in Snap and Switch we were able to, and I feel like more brands should feel more comfortable with Patrick's house. But given that they were able to take the risk and give us Squidward's house, then perhaps they're on the right track. What do you think of the Squidward's house set? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you mixed on it? Also, what big set would you like Area-X to make next? Feel free to comment below. Let's start a discussion. And as always, it's all Sab from here.